Hi everybody, this is Leonard. Okay, we're continuing on with the Volkswagen Microbus reduction gear transmission repair and rebuild. And it took me a little while to get this, but this is a super diff. In other words, it's designed to hold an extra set of spider gears, so it takes all the stress off the pinion and distributes evenly more of the torque that comes through the pinion shaft. This is the original. As you see, the spider gears are still in it, and this is where the axle paddles slip into each end of the transmission, and they wiggle around and do their thing. And this one's seized up, so I'm going to have some issues taking this thing apart, but that's basically what it looks like. And this thing here will wiggle around, and as the transmission goes in and out, actually there's a snap ring that holds it in there, so it's not moving anywhere. And this one carries 4 of these spider gears. So originally you get 2 when you transfer your old spider gears over, and you have to buy 2 more. Well, I didn't care to have the Chinese one, so I'm going to see if I can't get Geno's VW out back east. See if he can muster me up a couple of good used spider gears. I hope he can. I'm going to give him a call. I'll send him this video, and he'll get on the bandwagon for me. Okay, let's go outside and I'll show you what's next. I made a fixture with a dial indicator in it, so I can measure how deep the pinion goes into the transmission. And I'll show you why in a second. Okay, coming on. Okay, here's the transmission I'm working on. Now this is the same differential that you just looked at, except, as you can see, I hogged off the one side of it. And when I did, I put this shaft in, drilled and tapped it, so it would hold a dial indicator. So here's basically what it looks like. Cut it about half, and then you can mount a little dial indicator inside. That way you can measure how deep that pinion shaft is. You don't want to take that out until you know exactly where it's at, because we're going to put a new one in. It's a different lengths. Okay, so this is how we do it. I take this, take the O-rings off there's the O-rings that go right in here. Take those off so you can get this thing in and out of here easy. So what I did, I made it so I just slip in, stick the dial indicator in there sideways. You're going to have to set that dial indicator in there a few times. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and push it in. You can hear it snap. And then the secret is you pull the housing over as far as it'll go. Now if you look in there, you'll see that dial indicator. Let's see if I can get in there. Let's see if we can get it. There it goes. Okay. It's going to read about 1/1000. And it's actually reading about 1/2 So that's how close I've got that pinion shaft in there. If you can really see that or not. Let's see if I can get this thing in here. There it goes. Okay. There's about 1/2. So when you put the almost 1/1000, just a little over 1/2, maybe 750. So what you do is you pull this back out and you leave that dial indicator in that part in the mandrel. You can get those from Geno's too, by the way. Geno's and Rick Hovey. And then when you put the new shaft in, you can shim that shaft to 750 or 3/4 of 1/1000, and then you'll have the height set in there pretty close. Makes it real easy to set your ring and pinion. You'll have a nice pattern if you get it that close. So that's basically how you do it. And this thing just sits in here. I'm going to set this camera down here for a second, and I'll take this thing out, put the O-rings off, give it a good tug. We'll give it a little helping hand. Okay, and there's what it looks like. give you an idea. I'm going to set this down again. So here's how I cut it here. You can see where I cut it. You can see the blade marks. So basically that pinion, when you stick that thing in there, it's reading the end of that crown right there where that circle is. And if you want, you can spin the gear inside the transmission. Just go up here on this side and you can spin it real slowly to see if it's going to vary a little. Probably move about 5/10, maybe half a thousandth at the very most. So that's how you set a new pinion shaft in the transmission if you're going to change gear. If you're going to change gear ratios, which I'm going to do. There's what the transmission looks like. And you don't want to take this transmission apart until you get that done. Once you set this dial in gear, you leave this manual alone. You don't touch it until you're ready to put your transmission back together with a new ring and pinion in it. And that thing will read 1/1000 and a half, or you adjust the shaft to read 1/1000 and a half. You'll have it in and out of there a few times, but you'll get a dead nuts down there. Okay, that's it for now. Ciao.